Hi, good morning. I'm seeing some people up and at 'em. Thank you for joining me today, and welcome to our home. Did everybody have a good Christmas? So it looks like it's 7:30, and again, welcome to Cup of Faith. Hi, Karen, um, and welcome to my home. Let me give you a little glimpse of what happened in our home in the last 30 minutes. Brenda has been up and exercising, and I had a piece of pie. Now, in my defense, I had the pie because I was hungry and I wanted it, and I didn't really want to work out. So that's just the way it goes in our house. So, again, how was your Christmas? Most of us are going to say it was different. We adjusted, but few of us are going to say it was a better Christmas. And I think fundamentally it's because we know that Christmas is not really about presents. It's about people. It's about being close to the ones that we love, whether friends or family or both. So it's been a different Christmas. But maybe Christmas is also a metaphor for life, which can be pretty difficult and sometimes out of our control. We all face times of tragedy, failure, and disappointment. Now, knowing that, the question then becomes, how do we cope? How do we look forward? Let me give you one word, and that word is hope. Hope is that optimistic attitude of mind that is based on the expectations of positive outcomes. Before I get too far, you might want to have a pen and paper for some of the scripture references I'm going to give you. I came across an article this week from the Curious Journal of Medical Science. I was looking at the effects of what hope has on us. And in essence, this article is called The Impact of Hope and Resilience on Multiple Factors of Neurological Patients. And basically it meant that people that have gone through nerve surgery, how hope and resilience affected their their post-operation progress. Basically what the article said was hope, or the lack of it, it affects our outlook. And because it affects our outlook, it affects our mental health, our physical health, it affects our behavior, and therefore if it affects our behavior, it affects our performance. We are either positive or negative, we are vibrant or depressed, we are healthy or unhealthy, we either achieve, overachieve, or underperform based on how we see the future, which is hope. So whether it's external things, someone else, or a situation outside of ourselves, or an internal thing about our health or our behavior, hope is a desire or an expectation that things can and will change for the better. Hope is always optimistic. So let me give you 3 or 4 things about hope that I've come to believe. And you can adopt them or you can throw them out. It's up to you. The first thing is that hope relies on something outside of ourselves. It is not purely internal. It can be on a person. We hope in a person. We hope in a promise. We hope in history or algorithms. So from Psalm 130, verse 5, I wait for the Lord, and my whole being waits, and in his word I put my hope. So hope relies on something outside of ourselves. The second thing I've come to believe is that hope is a mechanism for change. We often look at people and we will say when things get bad enough, they'll change. When people hit bottom, they will change. Well, let me tell you from working in the inner city of Winnipeg for 8 years among the poor and the homeless, is that sometimes when things get bad, all we do is look for a shovel and start digging to go even further down. So it's not really when things get bad enough, in my opinion. I think that when we begin to have hope for something better, we change. And that's what we saw over and over again. So from Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. and they will soar on wings like eagles, and they will run and not grow weary, and they will walk and not be faint. Hope is a mechanism for change. The third thing is, hope is a necessity for survival. And there are days that's all we can do is survive. And we're in a place where we have to look beyond ourselves. We're at a place where we have to look for something better in the future. So from Proverbs chapter 13, verse 12, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is the tree of life. Now, this is one of my favorite scriptures, passages of scripture in all of the Bible, and it's taken from the book of Lamentations. And they say that the prophet Jeremiah had, he wrote this, and it was at a time when Jerusalem had been destroyed, the temple had been knocked down, and people were captive. You know, regardless of our opinions about COVID and lockdowns and all of the restrictions we have, I can tell you that we have not faced anything like what often the people of God face throughout history. Anyway, I digress. Lamentations chapter 3, beginning to read at verse 19. I remember my afflictions and my wandering and the bitterness and the gall. I well remember them, and my soul is downcast within me. Sounds like a lot of us some days. Yet, he says, I will call this to mind, and therefore I have hope. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassion never fails. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. I will say to myself, the Lord is my portion, therefore I will wait for him. The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him. I love those scriptures. They are life-changing and they are life-giving. So lastly, let me give you the fourth point. Whether 2021 is better or worse, we can live it with hope. But hope is not just an outlook. Hope is also a gift from God. God bless you today. Happy New Year. Enjoy your cup of faith.